Somali Woes, the Perils of Intervention. On the coastal outcrops of East Africa, in an area known as the Horn, Somalia sits like a sentinel, jutting into both the Gulf of Aden and the Indian Ocean. Although Somalians have recently been on the Western press because of a half-dozen sensational cases of piracy, the nation has a long and distinct history, centuries before the era of European colonialization. As long ago as the 1400s, Somalis fought border wars and battles with their neighbor to the west, Ethiopia. But like many African nations, interference by the West has meant disaster for the people. Somalia was colonized by first French, then Italians, and later the British, who split the country into separate territories. But throughout the colonization era, they kept their language, Somali, their culture, their history, and sense of Somali nationhood. In 2006, as part of the U.S. misguided war on terror, the U.S. supported an Ethiopian invasion and occupation of Somalia that transformed a bad situation into a worse one. The occupation stirred up Somali nationalism, which strengthened hardcore Islamist forces, which have spearheaded Somali resistance against the Ethiopians. Now comes word that the Ethiopians are rushing for the exits. By January 2009, they should be gone. In the aftermath of this bloody and unpopular occupation has grown a deeply radicalized and militarized generation that has no memory of schools, of peace, or of communal well-being, only of war and strife. When the U.S. supports proxy wars against nations it doesn't like, it rarely reaps anything better than bitterness. For the U.S., as one of the world's richest countries, can often afford such expenses, but it doesn't know the time or form of repayment. 7 years ago, the U.S. experienced one form of repayment when an offshoot of the Mujahideen army, which forced the Soviets out of Afghanistan, turned its sights on the U.S. on September 11th. Today, the Taliban is in full resurgence in Afghanistan, growing stronger in men, money, and materiel by the day. If September 11th has taught this nation anything, it should be that wars abroad can become strikes at home. We've not heard the last of Somalia. From Death Row, this is Mumia, Abu-Jamal. These commentaries are produced by Noel Hanrahan for Prison Radio.